President Biden and former President Trump, meanwhile, holding dueling campaign events in the battleground state of Georgia over the weekend. Trump met with the Laken-Riley family before he went on stage. He met them backstage during the rally in Rome. He slammed Biden for mispronouncing Laken's name at the State of the Union, then apologized for calling her alleged killer an illegal. Watch.
We understand that. He got Laken's name wrong, calling her Lincoln. He said he should have called him an undocumented, not an illegal, and he wanted to apologize. They want to call him neighbor. They want to call him another name. Did you ever hear the other one? Newcomer. A newcomer to our country. Are we going crazy or what? Is this country going crazy? No, he was illegal. And I say he was an illegal alien. He was an illegal immigrant. He was an illegal migrant. And he shouldn't have been in our country, and he never would have been under the Trump policy.
Over 60 miles away in Atlanta, President Biden instead touted his immigration policies. Watch.
Donald Trump calls them vermin, poisoning the blood of America. No one should ever doubt where my heart is. Unlike Donald Trump, on my first day in office as president, I introduced a comprehensive plan to fix our immigration system, secure our border, provide a pathway for citizens, for dreamers and their families, farm workers, essential workers who helped us through the pandemic and are part of the fabric of our community. Because unlike Donald Trump, I know who we are as Americans.
A new ABC News Ipsos poll finds Americans are divided on who they trust to lead the country. Trump has a slight lead over Biden, as 36% say that he would do a better job. Joining me right now is Democrat consultant and former House Judiciary Committee Chief Counsel Julian Epstein, Republican political analyst and campaign strategist Ford O'Connell. Gentlemen, thanks very much for being here. Ford, kicking things off with you, your reaction to these dueling rallies in Georgia over the weekend.
Look, President Biden's absolutely right. This is bonkers. Democrats care more about labels than they do about murdered American citizens. And remember, the Democrats, by and large, do not believe that anyone is fundamentally illegal. They're trying to import a new set of voters. And this idea that the term illegal alien is derogatory, it's a legal term. Let me tell you, right now, Donald Trump, as long as border security is one of the top issues, Donald Trump's going to win Georgia in 2024.
What do you think, Julian?
Well, I've been arguing for a long time that I think Democratic elites are out of touch with the public on the question of immigration. Americans are for legal immigration. Americans are very much against illegal immigration. If you look at the polling on this, New York Times and Pew, and you just going down the line with multiple polls, 70 to 80% of the American public disapprove of Biden's immigration policies, what has effectively been open borders. Just look at Democratic strongholds in cities across the country. They're going through meltdowns, experiencing just a small thimbleful of what the border states have had to experience. And I think Biden's strategy on this has been to sort of blame the Republicans, blame Trump, and then come out, as he probably will this week or next week, with half steps on executive orders on immigration. And that dog just won't hunt. President Biden has the authority today to close the borders. It's what the very strong majorities of the American people want, and he can do it with the stroke of a pen. He should do it.
Right, but, you know, the fact is that people are questioning whether or not he actually wants to do it, Julian. You know that, because the fact is here we are in an election year, and suddenly he's getting religion about immigration. For 3 years, we've been watching this wide-open border, and now 10 million illegals are in the country on his watch.
Well, Maria, I mean, this is the problem that I and others, people like Rory Teixeira, have been arguing about the Democrats for years now, since the beginning, really, of the Biden administration. The elites have really been taken over by the far-left, progressive, intersectional left, who have taken positions on a whole host of policies, not just immigration, crime, deficit spending, gender in the schools, you name it, that are out of step with majorities. And I think if the Democrats have any chance of winning in 2024, they're going to have a major course correction to the political center. I haven't seen evidence of that, but what I do see is these half steps We'll do a half step on immigration. Same thing with Israel. The argument on Israel, the argument the administration is making with Israel is, we have to protect civilians, but we also have to defeat Hamas. It's very hard to square that by saying that we're going to make Rafah in Israel a protective zone that Hamas can operate in. Yeah. And that's essentially the argument the administration is making right now. So I think the administration is going to have to make a much more serious move towards the political center if it wants to get anywhere closer to viability than it is right now.
And all of these things that you're mentioning, Julian, is one of the reasons why Biden is losing support with some key blocs, including Black America, Hispanic America. I spoke with South Carolina Senator Tim Scott yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures, and he said everywhere he goes, increasingly, he's seeing the African-American community backing Trump. Watch this.
I have never seen the type of enthusiasm for a Republican presidential candidate that I'm seeing right now for President Donald Trump. 40% of African-American men are willing to vote for President Trump. They had more money in their pockets. We had more law and order in the streets, and we had a greater future for our kids. President Trump is a president that says every child in every zip code deserves a quality education. President Trump is a president who says every neighborhood deserves more police, not defund the police. African Americans are devastated by migrant crime. We're seeing African American kids staying home from school in New York City so they can put illegal immigrants in the schools.
Your reaction, Ford?
Look, I think this is great news. Remember, Donald Trump lost re-election in the swing states by 43,000 votes in 2020. He got about 10 to 12% of the African-American vote. Right now in the polls, it shows him anywhere from 18 to 22%. And if he does get 18 to 22% of African-Americans, he will be the 47th president of the United States. Further, he's almost even with Joe Biden when it comes to Hispanics as well. Because remember, in the 6 battleground states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, Pennsylvania, prices and illegal immigration are the top 2 issues. And as long as those are the top 2 issues, and to Jillian's point, I give him a hat tip, the Biden administration is not going to make a course correction on illegal immigration, and prices are not going to go down, particularly on groceries, particularly on electricity, when they're at 25 to 30%. Remember, Maria, these are not luxury items, food, electricity, gasoline. These are the essentials for middle America. And if those prices don't come down, Donald Trump has got the receipts to win.
Yeah, but Julian, is there a master plan here with this wide open border? I mean, look, Mississippi Secretary of State sent a letter to President Biden's DOJ asking it to stop enforcing a Biden executive order that he warns is being used to attempt to register ineligible convicts and illegal immigrants to vote. I mean, is this the whole point here, Julian? Look, A.G. Garland the other day pledged to fight voter ID laws. I mean, on what universe is voter ID a bad thing? But that's according to A.G. Garland. He's going to fight it.
Yeah,
Why?
I mean, again, I think this is, well, look, I think this is, again, the problem with the Democratic Beltway elites, which they have been taken over by the progressive left on the policymaking front. And I think, to Ford's point, I think the numbers are correct. We're looking at somewhere about 22% black support for Trump right now, and as much as 46% Hispanic support. The polling on both of these communities, particularly as you look at working class blacks and working class Hispanics, the polling for years has consistently shown that these voters are very, very moderate. You talk about immigration, crime, the economy and inflation, and even things that, to your earlier guest's point, voter ID, black voters, particularly working class voters, are very moderate. So again, the central argument that I make is if the Democrats want to be more viable, and right now Biden is behind in this election, there's no mistaking it if you're clear-eyed about this rather than ideological. Democrats are behind right now. Biden is behind. The best way they can begin to claw back is make a shift to the common sense center. I and others have been arguing that for some time. Whether they'll do that or not remains to be seen.
All right. Great conversation, gentlemen. We so appreciate your time. Julian Epstein and Ford O'Connell. Thank you, gentlemen.